Good day, students. Welcome back to Computer Practice with Mr. H, the YouTube channel specifically for the TVET students of Computer Practice. Now, please make sure that you subscribe to this channel and click on the notification bell somewhere on the screen so that you can be notified of future videos that I upload. Okay, so let's jump in. Today we're going to specifically focus on Computer Practice in 6, the Excel section. Alright, so let's move into it. First of all, we're going to look at what is a VLOOKUP and what is an HLOOKUP. So this section is specifically only about VLOOKUPs and HLOOKUPs. Now, okay, starting off with VLOOKUPs. What is a VLOOKUP? The V for VLOOKUP stands for vertical. So that has to do with the particular table that we're going to use. But what is a VLOOKUP used for? It's to look up values within a reference table. So we have to look up values that's in a specific table. And vertical lookups has to do with tables where the headings are on top of the table. So that this makes more sense to you, here I have a table, a reference table, and as you can see, the headings are on top of the table. Alright, and this is a vertical lookup. In other words, the table, it's vertically set. So here you can see vertical lines because the headings are on top. So this, when we are referencing this table or when you have to use this table, we will have to use a VLOOKUP formula or a VLOOKUP function. Now, if you look at, here's a question of a VLOOKUP. I've explained this in class. I'm starting off with this one, but there will be other examples coming. But let's first look at the VLOOKUP. Here's a question. The product price is a monthly fee that the client pays for data services. Assign the range name product to the reference table of A22 to C26. So they are referencing a specific table here. Use this reference table and the appropriate spreadsheet function to determine the product price per month based on the product code. Alright, so let's just read that again. First of all, we need to go and assign a range name, and the name should be product for the reference table A22 to 26. Now if I go to that specific link, we will see the following things. So here's a document that we're going to have to use. So some of you, this is a very familiar document, but for most of it's not. But here we have two tables. Now remember, if I go back to that question, it references the following: A22 to C26. We need to assign a range name to that. Okay, so let's see. A22, column A, row 22, column C, row 26. A2 to C26. So it's that section over here. And we need to assign a range name here. And what is the name? We need to give it a name. Sorry, in the name box field over here, we need to give it a name called products. Press enter. Alright, so we've assigned a range name now to that table. And now we are going to move on to actually going to calculate a VLOOKUP. In this case, let's see why this is a VLOOKUP. So going back to our question, we've assigned the range name now, so now we can focus on the actual question. Use this reference table and the appropriate spreadsheet function to determine the product price per month based on the product code. Nowhere in this question are they actually telling us, listen here, you need to use a VLOOKUP. They don't say that. They don't say it in so many words. However, there are clues in this question that should tell us that this is a VLOOKUP. How do we know that? They are referencing a table. And based on what we've just done, we know that they are referencing this, this table over here. And because the headings are on top, that's how we know it's a VLOOKUP that we have to use. Okay, so going back to our question, let's see, what is the most important part here? use this reference table and the appropriate spreadsheet function to determine what must be determined. What do we need to go and work out? We need to go and determine the product price per month. And what is this product price based on? It is based on the product code. So these are the three things, or the two things actually, that we need, or three things that we need to focus on. What is the first thing? The first thing is, what table are we using? Where's the headings? The second thing is, what must be determined? The product price needs to be determined. And the third thing, what is it based on? Those are our three key things when we do these calculations. All right, going back to our document. So now we need to go and work out the product price. For this one, we need to click on formulas, and then we go to lookup, because this is a lookup function. Okay, so you will find your vlookup, your vertical lookup, in that list. So you click on vlookup. A dialog box, a function arguments dialog box will appear. Now what's important about this box is there's 1, 2, 3, 4 very important criteria that we need to insert into this box. Alright, so let's see. First of all, you need to insert, what is your lookup value? What are you looking up? Alright, what are you looking up? What is this based on? What table are you using? And what column in that table is what you need? In other words, what do you need in that table? What column is important in that table? And then we're going to put in a range lookup, but the answer here is always going to be true. Sorry, it's going to be false. Anyway, let's see. Lookup value. Let's see. What is this? Lookup value. Going back to our question. Determine the product price per month based on the product code. We do not know the product price yet. That is what we need to go and work out. But what we do know is to work out the product price, we need to use the product code. Alright, so what does that mean? Alright, so that means to work out the product price, we now have to go and click on lookup and references, and under that we need to go and find the vlookup function. Let's see, where is that? There it is, vlookup function. Now there's this function argument box will appear, and we need to carefully insert the correct information into these 4 sections. The first section is asking for, what is your lookup value? In other words, what are you looking up? What are you looking up? We know that we want to determine the product price, and this, what is your lookup value? What is it based on? What is it based on? And we know that the lookup value, to find out the product price, we need to focus on the product code. That is what it's based on, isn't it? Then, alright, what table are you going to use? Where do I find the prices that the product price, that the product codes are based on? Well, this is the table that we have been referred to, and earlier on we gave it a name, so we can actually just type in here product. But that's fine if you did not give it a name, not a train smash. Remember, it's this information over here, excluding the headings, and you will notice that your name that you gave it will appear. So if this appears at this stage, you are good to go. Yay. Well, if you didn't give it a name, of course no name will appear, but as long as you've selected the correct contents. Now what's important, the next section, it's asking you what column index, or what is the column index number that you have to use. In other words, where in this table that you are talking about, where will you find your answer? Remember, I want to work out my product. I want to determine what is my, I'm looking up what is my product price. And this is in the 1, 2, 3, the third column of that table. So in here I have to type in number 3 because it's in the third column. And here into range lookup, this isn't necessarily always important, but because you can see it's not really bold, but do yourself a favor, type in there false. False, the function of false, it gives you a direct match. What is the function of the word false? It's a parameter for Excel. It gives you an exact match. In other words, it will directly connect the product code with the product price. Alright, so there's no confusion if you type in the parameter false. Alright, so those are the 4 things that you have to insert into this particular VLOOKUP. Once you've done that, you can just click on OK. And you will then notice that your answer is displayed. Well, if it's not displayed, then you can just copy down the formula. Alright, so I'm having problems there because my system is already set up for these things. Sorry about that. But what you need to do is you need to copy the formula. But also please pay attention. If you click here on this little section over here, the insert function, you can open your box again. Remember that if you didn't use a name function, you can go and insert absolute cell references pertaining to the reference table. In other words, you'll have to go and insert an absolute reference for A22 and C22 perhaps, just to make sure that it actually will reference the correct information and there's no issues with that. I will put up a new video just to explain that section. But otherwise, these are your info. This is your information. But let's look at it more clearly. Here I have, this person, Bernarda, is paying $6.90 because she is, our product code is P1. The same with Tubana is also paying, product code is also P1. And let's see if that corresponds with our table. P1 equals to $6.90. The same applies with P2, that is $7.90. P3 pays $800. There we go. So this is the correct information that we have referenced or looked up. Alright. The same concept applies for a HLOOKUP. Its only difference is we're going to use a different table. But let me take you quickly back to the actual table. So that was a VLOOKUP that we just did. Let's continue to the HLOOKUP. Now the HLOOKUP, again, the H in this case stands for horizontal. And what is it for? To look up a value from a reference table from a horizontal perspective. And in this case, the headings are on the side of the table. Now if you look at this section over here, here is the headings on the side of the table, and it's a horizontal table. Now let's go quickly back to our question. Use the reference table B28 to F29 and the appropriate spreadsheet function to determine the router price based on the router type. Use absolute cell references where applicable. Now here they're specifically speaking of absolute cell references. Why? Because in the previous question they said give the table a range name, so that kind of cancelled out the absolute cell referencing. But in this case they specifically, and this is also what you're going to get marks for, they're going to look for, did the student apply absolute cell referencing? But okay, let's go to our document. Let's see. Now here I've also highlighted determine the router price based on the router type and use absolute cell referencing. Alright, so let's see. So here they are specifically talking about this table. Alright, this is a horizontally aligned table. The headings are on the side of the table. And again, going back to our question, nowhere did they say use a hlookup. All that they told us was use the reference table B28 to F29. And if we go and check B28, so this section over here to F29, there's 29. And never include your headings when you do that. But okay, let's go here. We need to go and determine the router price, and the question said the router price is based on the router types. If you look at our table, router prices based on router types, also codes. Alright, so it's really the same concept as your VLOOKUP. It's just a different table that we're using. So you're going to click on lookup, and you're going to go down, you're going to go and choose hlookup, horizontal lookup. Again, 4 sections will appear in your function argument box. What is your lookup value? What is your value based on? My value is based on the router types. What table are you using? I'm using this table. What row in that table is important? Remember, we want to work out what? We want to work out the router prices. So what row in this table has to do with router prices? It's the second row of this table. This is the first row of the table, but the second row talks about the router prices. So in there, you're going to have to type in number 2. We're not working with columns now, we're working with rows because the table is horizontal. And again, range lookup, false, because we want an exact number. Look there, it tells you exactly what your answer will be. If I remove the false, it's just, as I said, you don't necessarily have to do this, but to be 100% sure, type in the word false. Then you know you're going to get an exact match, no confusion whatsoever. Formula result 1, 2. In other words, that one. Alright, so then once you're done, you click on OK, and there's your answer. Now, it did say that you have to use absolute values, so I'm just going to quickly go back to my box by clicking on this function, insert function option or command there. And just to be sure, here in my table, remember I'm referencing this table, so I'm going to click on that section over anywhere on that formula, and I'm going to use the F4 key on my keyboard to insert an absolute cell reference. Alright, F4 key to insert a cell reference. The same I'm going to do with this one. Alright, so to insert your $signs, you just click on it and you press F4 on your keyboard. Alright, so that's all that you need to do, and then you click on OK and copy the formula down. I do apologize, my system is already set up and everything is happening automatically, and that's a problem, but in your case you just need to just copy the formula down. Alright, that is hlookup and a vlookup, or a vlookup and a hlookup in a nutshell. Join me in the next video where I will be explaining how to work out if calculations. Again, please don't forget to subscribe and click on the notification bell somewhere on the screen to be notified of future videos. Thank you guys.